I either need to figure this out or I need to slow down. It's just going to suck until I fix it, so I have to fix it. I am in survival mode. Be queer, do crime. Half the time, I feel like I am 2 seconds away from crying. I'm simultaneously worried that it's too much and not enough. I spent like 3.5 hours working on this chapter. Taking breaks is important, and you should do it. Don't be like me. I don't know. We're just gonna suck it up and do it all, I guess. I don't really know where to start this aside from just hello. I don't really feel like recording. I don't really feel like doing anything. It's been a busy few days and I've been kind of crashing and getting behind on everything. I'm working on video editing my last vlog that I really wanted to be out last week, and that wasn't realistic because I had 9 hours of footage. So I'm behind on that. I am behind on Drabbles by like 3 days now, which I really did not want to happen at all, but I was just... This weekend was a lot. I don't even remember what happened before Saturday. I think I was just getting really tired already and worn out. Saturday I went to the Pride Fest here in town and I fell on my butt and twisted my ankle, which was great. It still hurts a little, but mostly in specific positions. It's mostly bruised at this point. I don't think I twisted it in a way that exacerbated any issues. My body is so sore though, and it took me a while to realize why my legs in particular are sore, because I walked around and looked at all the stuff there, but I didn't do anything in particular, certainly not anything more than I do at the gym, but my thighs especially were so sore, they still are. Going up and down stairs hurts. I went to the gym this morning, but I did not work out. I hung out in the pool and got in the hot tub and did a bunch of stretching and stuff. But yeah, I realized I'm sore from catching myself when I fell. So after Pride, I was just exhausted. I don't remember what I did the rest of the day. I don't know if I did anything. I kind of just crashed. And then yesterday we had my youngest birthday party, so that was, you know, a lot of interacting with a bunch of kids and a bunch of parents at a place that is a lot of light and noise and activity, and it was just a lot. And lasted longer than we thought it would, longer than we intended, but it was fun, and the kids all had fun, and that's what matters. And then I got home and had to clean and organize, and finally got to sit down around 3:30, half an hour after we got back. Didn't really do anything the rest of the day. I was so dead, but I did spend a decent amount of time over the weekend fitting in when I could, catching up on some AUTHORTUBE videos, and I fit in a little bit of video editing. I got through a decent amount last night after the kids were in bed and after I had recovered some. So physically, I'm feeling a lot better today. Mentally, probably not so much. I'm still pretty drained and very much behind on everything, and I'm not a fan of that. I would like for that to not be the case. Doesn't really work like that though. Gotta either catch up or give up, and we're certainly not giving up. So, if I want to be caught up by tomorrow, which I do because tomorrow I have a live stream, I have to write 4 Drabbles today. If it takes me about half an hour to do each of them, then that's 2 hours. That's a lot of time, considering I also need to get through 2 chapters if I'm going to stay on target for my revision. And I really can't keep postponing this vlog editing. I need to get this out soon. There is not enough time in the day to do everything I need to do today. 4 Drabbles, 2 chapters, a decent amount of video editing, at least an hour. Anyway, that's been my weekend, and hi, I'm Dana. I'm kind of a mess right now, and this vlog is probably going to be a mess, but I really wanted to do a vlog while I was working on the midpoint of this draft. I've gotten through the first 20 chapters, which means I have 31 chapters left. I am still on target, going strong. Billy and Xander arrived in West Palm Beach in chapter 19. Basically, until chapter 29, they are there in Florida with his family. So all of the chapters I need to work on this week, aside from the last one, are while they're there. This is the midpoint. There is a lot of stuff going on here and a lot of things I need to fix and change and write brand new. So it's gonna be a lot of work, and somehow I have to fit in catching up on Drapples and getting this video edited in addition to that. So yeah, but we are working on the midpoint. That is the point of this vlog. That is why I wanted to record. The midpoint is definitely what I consider to be the roughest part of this draft. That and probably chapter 6, which, to be fair, was not as bad as I thought it was. That's nothing compared to the fixes that I've made on some chapters that I had initially thought just had minor changes. I'll show you some of them, and we can look at the color differences. This is a scene from chapter 19. It's one I initially thought didn't need a whole lot of work, but all of this blue stuff is stuff that I added in. And then we've got just a few parts here and there, and then sections, and rewrote the whole ending there, basically. And all of this, I added in so much here and changed it almost completely. And this one, the next scene, is also one where initially I didn't think I'd be changing all that much. Added in a lot of descriptions, that's what this section is. I spent a lot of time searching on Zillow and other places finding a house that is close enough to what I want their house to look like so that I had a better idea. So I found a few different listings for general inspiration for what the place would look like. And then I also knew that I needed to completely change the way Xander's mother behaves. And so that was one tiny note over here saying, make her nicer. And so when I was looking at it before, I was like, okay, that's a tiny little note. That shouldn't be much. No, that's changing the whole thing. Like, everything she says and the way she behaves needs to be completely changed. That's not a minor edit. That's a major edit. All of this stuff got rewritten. There's 2 sentences in a row that weren't changed at all, but that's rare. Almost every sentence got changed in some way, and then the ending got changed a decent amount, because I really needed to change how Billy reacted to this scene because of how different the scene was. It went from around 1,800 words, and now it's 2,500 words. So today, if I'm to stay on target, I have these 4 scenes to work on. Theoretically, the first one has major changes and the other 3 are minor changes. But I'm very skeptical of that because this one isn't even 600 words. And it's another scene with his mother where I'm pretty sure I need to change the way like every scene she's in, I need to change how I wrote her. That's a lot of work. All 4 of these scenes could need major changes when I actually get in there and work on them. So we'll see. Not very excited about that. Ooh, I got the idea from my live stream with Cynthia. We were talking about spreadsheet stuff, and she was talking about including the previous draft. So we went through and added in the word count for all the scenes in the previous draft. And that has me at the 104,390 for the previous total. The word count for this draft only includes the scenes I've finished, so that's 52,519. So I'm at a little under 1,600 words per scene average, and the previous draft was about 1,300. So that's almost 300 words difference on average. But I'm also, scene-wise, only 33 out of 91 scenes right now. If my average scene length holds, this draft will be 144,781 words. I don't think that is going to be true. I'm expecting it to be closer to 120. Right now, including the whole thing, it's a little over 112. But again, I'm only 36% of the way through the number of scenes. Now, progress by chapter, I am closer to 40% of the way through. So here I have my draft 3 stats. This is something I added, I think, sometime last week. And I have everything divided by 4 acts. I don't remember what exactly sparked this, but sometime last week or maybe near the end of the week before, I spent a decent amount of time thinking about a 4-act structure and trying to figure out what the actual difference between a 3-act structure and 4-act structure is. Because the way I approach the 3-act structure, which I only kind of use. It functions more like a 4x structure. Even still, I researched and like what I was finding is the 4x structure puts more emphasis on the midpoint. I'm like, but I very definitely remember reading stuff about 3x structure where they're talking about how the midpoint is the most important scene in the book and stuff like that. I feel like that's mostly K.M. Weiland's stuff where she really put that emphasis on there. And it's like, okay, then what is the difference? I don't even know. I read explanations and still don't feel like I got an answer. Theoretically, the 4x structure puts more emphasis on the midpoint. Maybe. So anyway, I basically decided that for my brain likes breaking things into even parts. So 4 acts means 4 quarters instead of Act 1 being a quarter and Act 3 being a quarter and Act 2 being 50%. Like, that's dumb. So I broke it into 4 acts so I can easily see how things split up. My Act 1 is only 19 scenes long. That's the shortest one. The others are all 23 to 25. And the same with the chapters. Act 1 is 11 chapters, and then the others are 12, 13, 15. Act 2 is too long. Too long. And that's where I'm at, so we'll see how that plays out with word count. And then here, I also decided I wanted to keep track of the shortest and longest scenes and chapters. So my shortest scene so far is only 670 words, and my shortest chapter is 1700 words. 1706. And then we have my longest, where the longest scene is 2817 and the longest chapter is 3714. That's the first chapter. That is too long. That first scene that I added was longer than I anticipated, but also I don't think it's long enough that I want to break them up into different chapters. But maybe it is. I do want to go over that scene again and tweak it some more once I finish the overall draft. All of the new scenes that I've written, I have gone back and changed, except that one. That one I kind of want to leave it until I've finished the whole thing. And I also did like how it came out in the first version. I know it's missing a couple things still, and is probably a little overwritten in parts. And this idea I absolutely got from Cynthia. I added in the previous word count for the scenes there, but here I decided I wanted to go back and add in the word counts for everything, for all the previous drafts. Anyway, I just spent 25 minutes yapping about my spreadsheet and not doing any of these stuff I very specifically need to get done today. I'm not sure whether I want to tackle revisions or drabbles first. I would probably prefer to do revisions because that takes up more mental time, but I don't like to shift between them, and we're not even touching on the video editing I need to do. I really can't keep postponing the video editing, but I refuse to get behind on my revisions, and I need to catch up on drabbles. So, I don't know, we're just gonna suck it up and do it all, I guess. What else can I do? Okay, it is 10:30, so I'm going to pick one and dive in. If I hold my head just right, it looks like I have a halo. It's about 1:40 now. I spent a little while working on video editing. That's what I started with. I got through a decent amount. I'm down to under 4 hours, and I made it through that one specific day. I have 4 more days to edit though, so I'm 2 days in and it's 29 minutes. So if I keep up with this average, then it'll be about an hour and a half for all 6 days. But we'll see. I really would like to get it under an hour, but who knows? Who knows? It's hard. So I did that. I also went on a tangent, and I don't even remember what made me think of this, but I've been meaning to make a content warnings page on my website for a while. So I finally went and did that. It's not fully up and linked. You have to know what the actual address is to find it, because it's not ready yet. But it is mostly done, so that's a win. And then I also wrote one drabble, which I'm both pretty happy with and a little self-conscious about. So it's going on 145 now, and I'm only just now getting to revisions. I don't know if I'll get through 2 chapters today, but I made some really good progress on the video editing, and I should be able to get through a couple more drabbles tonight and hopefully catch up on that. So if I only manage to do 1 chapter of revisions, but I am able to do the drabbles, I think I'll be happy with that. We'll see. Well, it is basically 6 o'clock, and I've been working since 10:30 with very few breaks, probably not nearly as many as I should have had. I just finished going through chapter 21. It did take me a couple hours because I rewrote most of those 2 scenes. Like 3/4 of that chapter got rewritten and fleshed out. And I looked at the scenes in chapter 22 that I was supposed to also do today, and yeah, those are not minor changes, those are big changes, because basically any scene, at least in this early time period, that has Xander's mother in it is going to be drastically rewritten. How I'm writing her is so different now that I have figured out what her actual motivation is, now that I know what she wants and how she would handle going after that. I will say though, these chapters at the midpoint are so rough, and I don't mean that in a like they're genuinely poorly written, because that's not what it is. It's just I didn't fully know what I was doing with the story and the characters at the time, and now that I'm going through and making these changes, they're so much better. This is really feeling like an actual story, and I know I felt that when I worked on draft 2 as well. Like by the time I finished draft 2 and I read it, I was like, whoa, this is actually a book as opposed to a mess, which is what it was before. But it really is, every time you go through a new draft and do more edits, more line edits, more of that intensive work, it really does feel like you are honing this story into an actual book. It's beautiful. I love that process. It's so good. And it is so fulfilling to be able to look at these scenes and go, I did that. I made that. And whoa, it's actually good. Anyway, I have to go make dinner. I'm going to take my laptop upstairs to try to work on more drabbles. And then if I feel up to it, I'll probably come down after the kids are in bed to try to get more work in. Tomorrow I have a live stream, so I would really like to get caught up on drabbles tonight. I will probably not check in again tonight, so I will see you tomorrow. Good morning. It is Tuesday, whatever day it is, the 16th, I think. I have a live stream today, and I am still playing catch up on everything else. I only got through 1 chapter yesterday, so I'm behind by 1 chapter, which isn't too bad. I got through 3 of the drabbles I needed to write yesterday, so I'm only behind by 1 day now, so that's a vast improvement. Obviously, I still have so much video editing to do. I have it down to 3 hours and 18 minutes, so huge improvement. I am making good progress there. It's just hard to fit it in when I need to be working on drabbles and revisions all at once. And I either need to figure out the right routine and stay on top of this, or I need to slow down. Realistically, slow down's probably the right choice. Maybe I should aim for only 1 chapter a day, at least during the daily drabble challenge. I really don't want to do that, but that's the only thing that I can slow down on without it being being truly detrimental. Once June is over, I can devote myself fully to the revisions, because there's other stuff I need to be doing too. I can't spend all of my day playing catch up on this. Yesterday from 10:30 to 6, and then from 10:30 to midnight, I was working on writing and AuthorTube stuff. In the morning, I did gym, which was just hanging out in the pool and hot tub and, because of my muscles and stuff. And then in the evening, like at 6, I left my office, went upstairs, and made dinner. I watched an episode of Doctor Who with my kids and didn't do much else. I made some little stars to color in on my whiteboard over here so that I can check off the chapters as I go. Yeah, I would really prefer not to have to slow down, but realistically, it might just be the best thing to do. I doubt very much I will get through 3 chapters and get caught up today, especially since I have the live stream. I am planning, since I do have the live stream, and we usually do 2 sprints, if I can get through today's prompts in the first sprint, then I'll spend the second sprint working on yesterday's, since that's the day I still need to do. So that is built-in Drabble time that I don't have to worry about outside of the live stream. My live stream is from 11 to 1, so I have an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes until I have to get in the studio. And now I need to decide whether I'm going to spend that time working on chapter 22 or on video editing. I'm not sure I feel quite awake enough to work on writing at this point. Chapter 22 is going to need quite a bit of work because the way I wrote this scene doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel like a full scene. It is pretty short, it's only about 800 words long, but I need to rewrite most, if not all of that. This is a scene with Billy and Xander's mom, and they are at a boutique that Xander's mom runs, and it's like a super fancy boutique. Therein lies the real issue. If it were just your average boutique, I don't think it would be as difficult to write, but it is more than that. Everything with Xander's parents is more, and it makes it very hard to write because I do not have the more. So I'm pretty intimidated by the changes I need to make to that chapter, and I need to do a bunch of research and pull up images and stuff for inspiration. I might start with that, trying to find some good images, trying to find a boutique in the same area, see what that's like. That sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it and pet this kitty, apparently. Okay, quick update because it is 11, so I have to get my stream all set up. I'll be on a couple minutes late, it happens. I spent the last 2 hours mostly doing video editing. I wanted to ease my way in. I did research boutiques in the West Palm Beach area, found some decent pictures to use for inspiration, but I have not started writing that scene yet. I am definitely a little intimidated by it, so postponing it, but also I'm postponing it by doing other things that need done, so I can't be too mad about that, I guess. Okay, it's 4:45 now, and I'm just beat. After my live stream, I did a little more video editing, and then I stopped for lunch, and when I was done with that, around 2-ish, 2:15, I came back down to get in some actual revision progress. I made it through one scene. This is, to be fair, a scene I had to completely rewrite. I changed it so much, almost all of it is different, and it went from around 800 words to almost 1,500 words, and just the whole vibe, the feeling of the scene is different now, which it needed to be. That was a scene that I don't think I touched in the last draft at all, so it desperately needed updated. But there's 2 scenes in chapter 22, and I only got through one of them, so not feeling great about that. The next scene is only about 1,200 words, but I need to completely rewrite it. All of these scenes with Xander's mother need completely redone, and it is so frustrating frustrating, but they are such a huge improvement when I do get them done. Genuinely, it's so much better now that I know what she wants and what she's trying to do. So this next scene I need to work on is lunch. It's just Billy and Xander's mom having lunch together after a really awkward encounter with Xander's ex-girlfriend in the scene that I just worked on. And the scene's not bad, it really isn't, but I need it to be completely different, so it doesn't matter if it's bad, it needs to be different. On a fun note though, I got some mail. Matt, who designed my logo and all the merch I still need to actually make, which, you know, not in a hurry for because it's gonna be a bit before this book is actually out, but his shop, his online shop, opened at the beginning of the month on the 6th, so I ordered some stuff, and some of it has arrived, some of it isn't here yet, but look at this beautiful poster! It's so pretty. I need to get it in a nice frame and put it on my wall along with all the other stuff I still haven't put on my wall. My friend gave me this for Christmas. It's not up yet. I'm a mess. It's in a frame at least. That's progress. Yeah, it's beautiful. Look at this. I will make sure to put his shop down in the description, which, I mean, it's going to be in every description now because I use the logo stuff that he made. So now that he has an online shop, I can actually link to it in the description. Excited about that. So now that I'm all caught up on Drabbles and I'm pretty on top of the video editing where it is now, I'm definitely feeling less stressed. I wish I could just devote all of my Wednesday to working on these revisions, but I do still have to do the Drabble, and there is more video editing to do. There just is. I hate that there is, but there is. And as much as I would like to put off working on that for a day, it's a bad idea. I wanted this video out last week, and that didn't happen. So if I could get it out by the end of this week, that would be amazing, but doesn't seem particularly likely. I am very stressed right now, and I want to try to find a way to alleviate that. And between the three main things that I'm trying to do right now, I don't know how to do that without removing one of the things, or at least cutting back one of the things. I wish I had at least gotten through chapter 22 today. I'm behind on revisions, and it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. Doing 10 every week is a self-imposed deadline, and I don't need to go that fast. Actually, the fact that revising a scene is taking me a while is probably a good thing. That means I'm devoting a lot of mental energy and attention to it, and at least theoretically that means I'm making a lot of improvements. So that is a good thing, and I think I just need to be okay with not doing that at a really fast pace, especially this section here, especially the whole midpoint section. So I think my goal for tomorrow will be to work on the video editing, get through that final day. That will probably take me several hours to do though, so at least get through half of it, and also finish chapter 22 and get through chapter 23. So I'm calling it for the day, and I'm going to try to get a decent amount of rest tonight and come back to this draft refreshed, hopefully, and able to work on it. And, you know, when I need brain breaks from doing that, I can work on video editing and so on. I can switch back and forth. So I will check in tomorrow. Wednesday morning now, and it's time to get to work. I'm not feeling a lot of energy today, which is a little frustrating because I went to bed early. This means I did not get my Drabble done last night, so I do still need to do that, and I really want to get through chapter 22 and 23. And then, of course, the video editing. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say this morning. I don't have much energy. I'm just going to read through the scene I worked on yesterday and get into it. It's 11 a.m. now, so that's frustrating. That took me, what, an hour and a half to do one scene that's not even 1,000 words? Cool. I mean, I did rewrite everything and cut out a whole bunch. The scene did not end the same. The version in the previous draft, Billy actually walked out, and so I moved some of the conversation there. I'm going to put it later on, but generally right now I need this to be an amicable conversation, so it can't end poorly like that. So the scene itself actually lost like 300 words. It was around 1200, now it's 860. Some of that got moved to later, but a lot of it was just cut entirely. And what was still there, what remained, got added to and fleshed out. So I am happy with how it is. I'm frustrated at the slow pace I'm going. In the next section, chapter 23, is going to be a lot of new content. I do think I need a little bit of a break from it though. I'm going to switch to a little bit of video editing, make some progress on that, and then come back to this. Okay, I got in a decent amount of video editing. This video is now only like an hour and 52 minutes, and I still have like 40 minutes of footage to go through, and that's going to drop dramatically. So that'll probably put me around like an hour and 40-ish minutes, and then I need to go through it again and see if I can get that lower, see what I can cut out, because that's too long. I really would like to have it not be longer than an hour. Then I went and grabbed a snack. It's now about 1 p.m., just before, and I'm going to dive into revisions. I have to spend a decent amount of time describing this house, the house that Xander's parents live in, because this first part of the scene, they're really exploring stuff and checking stuff out. I'm not sure how I'm going to write this without it sounding kind of like just descriptions, a whole bunch of descriptions. I don't want it to be that. There needs to be, you know, this is primarily Billy and Xander interacting, so obviously there needs to be a decent amount of banter, because that's what they do, but how much banter, I'm not really sure, because Xander is also going to be not in a great headspace. Xander's not really in a good headspace for most of these chapters. He does not want to be here, but having Billy there helps. She helps him relax and calm down, and I do want him to actually sort of talk about things that he doesn't typically talk about in this scene. So I think I want the scene to start out with him not really being very open and slowly opening up, and then his dad arrives and it's immediately closed up, not being open about anything. So that's my loose general plan. We'll see how this goes. Well, it is 5 o'clock now. I am obviously quite upset. It was 1 when I switched back to working on revisions. I spent like 3.5 hours working on this chapter, and I was so close to being done, and then the power went out. Not sure what. It was the whole house breaker. We've never had that happen before. That was weird. No idea what caused it, which is a concern in and of itself, but we got it back on, and I came back down here, and I'm dumb and only have my Scrivener set up to do backups when I close the document, which I haven't done in 6 days, apparently, and you know, generally it should be fine. Of course it should be fine. It autosaves like every 10 seconds or something like that. So I thought at most I lost like a sentence because I was literally in the middle of typing a sentence when the power went out. But no, I lost everything in that document, and my most recent backup, being from 6 days ago, actually has less stuff, and it did not recover what I was working on. So that entire chapter that was like almost 2,000 words at this point is just gone. 3.5 hours of work is just gone. I switched it so it backs up to every time I manually save, which I do regularly, even though it autosaves, because I'm paranoid, and I'm paranoid for a reason. I was already so mad and frustrated about the power going out in the first place, because I was so close to being done. I was so close. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to end it yet, like where it was going to finish, but now it doesn't fucking matter. Theoretically, writing it again should be easier. It's not really easier if I'm frustrated and upset, though. I don't know the last time that I actually lost something I was working on. That stupid ring light just comes on its own sometimes. I can never leave it plugged in. Either way, though, I lost like 2,000 words, and I will have to work on doing that tomorrow, and I don't have time. I'm already so stressed because I'm doing too much at once, and I was like, okay, I'll slow down and try to only do 1 chapter a day. My goal for today was to get through this chapter. I'm just so distraught at this point that I can't even imagine working on it now, but it doesn't matter because I don't have time. It's like 5:15 now, and tomorrow I have to live stream, which will be fun. I'll get to hang out with Cynthia and write whatever the heck drabble I write tomorrow. I don't know. I can't foresee writing writing a drabble today. I was planning to do that this evening while hanging out with my friend, but I'm just gonna be too upset to do anything. I'm pretty sure when I was actually working on books and using Scrivener regularly in the past, so, 2019 and prior, I did have it set up so that it did a backup every time I manually saved. And I don't know why I turned that off, but I turned it off at a time when I wasn't regularly working on my books. I'm just so devastated. Well, it's Thursday. Whatever the hell day it is, I don't even know anymore. Is it the 17th? The 18th. It's the 18th. I still feel like curling up and crying, and that's not going to go away until I rewrite this chapter, and I hate that. I hate that. I do feel a little better. I went and hung out with my friend and commiserated some and, had a nice distraction from just feeling like crap. But then I woke up with a headache, and the stuff is still gone, so we power through. We just have to keep going. It's just going to suck until I fix it, so I have to fix it. And I really don't feel able to fix it. I don't feel capable of doing that, but I have to. There is no other choice. Especially since the longer I wait, the harder it will be, at least to recreate what I wrote. And I know it's going to turn out different. Even though it's been less than 24 hours, it will be different. I did write up a play-by-play outline of the scene before I went to sleep last night. That alone was like 400 words, so I know exactly what I want to happen, though I still don't know how exactly the scene's going to end because I was still figuring that out when the power went out. I also canceled my live stream with Cynthia this morning, which I'm pretty bummed about because those are always so much fun, but between the headache and how crappy I feel, I just do not feel up to live streaming. I don't really want to be in front of a camera at all, but we're vlogging, so I'm just glad I'm doing like lazy vlogging. I'm not sure I've even recorded any B-roll for this. Maybe on the first day. Yeah, it's just been me checking in with the camera and chatting. That definitely does not feel as intrusive during a time when I am not my best self. I know I got really excited about doing revisions during the Drabble challenge and between those and daily life, and then all of the back-end stuff that has to happen because editing vlogs and doing admin and all of the live streams, all of that stuff. It was a little bit too much. Now, I will say, since I have generally slowed down, and because I lost chapter 23, I am very behind on my revision chapters now. It would be literally impossible to get through 8 chapters by the end of the day tomorrow and be on target. I don't even see how I could get through chapter 25 at this point. So this vlog is definitely not ending at the end of this week. My goal for this vlog was to get through the midpoint, which is technically like chapter 29. Chapter 30 is when they go home from Xander's parents. So getting through chapter 30 was just like a good natural stopping point. So now I'm not sure when this vlog is going to end. I might keep at it until I hit that point. I know once I actually get my beginning of the month vlog edited and posted, I will have much more time because I'm spending, like 2 hours a day working on that at this point. That's about how much I spent yesterday. It probably was more the day before. I think I am not going to touch video editing today, at least not until I make some decent progress on this chapter. I'm really not looking forward to this, and I think about sitting down to actually work on this, and I just feel like crying again. And I know in the grand scheme of things, like a 1900 word scene really isn't that big of a loss. The bigger issue is how much time I put into that. If it were a rough draft and I had spat that out in an hour, I would feel so much less distraught. But I spent 3.5 hours working on that, and I know I don't have to do the research now because I already did that. So theoretically that should cut off 45 minutes, an hour, because there was a decent amount of that, but also spread throughout. I don't know. I am just working myself up to actually working on this. I'm not going to not be upset about this until I fix it, so I have to suck it up and at least try to fix it. I will say this is a scene that's actually more like 4 smaller scenes, but also not really. We're moving with them as they go through the house. So there are a couple natural breaks. We're not jumping ahead any time or anything like that. It's just okay, here's a good point to mentally pause. So I think if I try to think about it it like that in, okay, here I just need to write the part where they're in the bathroom, Billy's brushing her teeth, like that's what's happening, and they're talking. Focus on that, and it won't be quite so scary. I guess I'm just gonna do this and stop postponing. I got some coffee, because I need that, like, emotionally. And, yeah, gonna rewrite this scene. Quick update, it's going on 11. I worked on stuff for technically less than an hour, but it took up an hour of time. I got through the first quarter, which does not bode well for how long it's going to take me to get this done. But that seemed like a decent pausing point, so I did that, and then I worked on video editing for 30 minutes, exactly 30 minutes. Got through a decent chunk of that, and came to a good stopping point, and I am going to use the bathroom, maybe grab a snack, and get back to the next section of rewriting this damn scene. I did the part with Billy and Xander in the bathroom, so the next section is the house tour, basically. And that's probably, the biggest part. I know the section in the bathroom is pretty small, and the section where they're out on the patio is pretty small, but that's probably, aside from the end, where we're actually finally meeting Xander's dad, the part on the patio is probably the most important part. The tour is the least important part, probably, aside from its establishing locations and hinting at things to come. Anyway, just a short check-in. Moving on. Okay, it's 12:45 now. I got through the next section of the scene. That part is probably around 1,000 words. I know I've got around 1,500 total, so rough estimate, but around 1,000 words for the actual tour. I'm not sure how long that took me. Maybe around an hour. That part was a lot easier to do because there's a natural progression as you go through the different parts of the house. And Xander is giving commentary and whatever, but he's still very reserved. So he's not saying a whole lot, and Billy is just kind of taking stuff in now that she's actually able to see everything. So this part is mostly a lot of description. I don't know if it's as well written as the version I did before. Genuinely, no idea. And I literally cannot compare them, which is a crazy thing. When you do revisions, it's oh yeah, I have this previous version, and I can see how much better I made it. In the case of something like this, not an option. So generally, I'm feeling a bit better. Obviously, a bit more energized, and that's good. So I did that, and then I did a little bit of video editing. I only did that for 15 minutes probably, but I have it down to an hour and 33 minutes now, so it's in decent shape. I would still prefer to get this under an hour. Probably not very realistic though. And then after that, after I get that into a state where I like it and feel comfortable with all of the stuff that's in it, then I need to go in and add graphics and music and all of that stuff. Doing the music is my least favorite part, but that also means I'm almost done. So mostly the hardest part of editing the vlog is over. It is an hour and a half instead of 9 hours long. That's a huge improvement. I've made a decent amount of progress, and I think basically deciding to not worry about writing or even reading other people's drabbles for a little bit is a good decision. Anyway, I have had not really a break. My break was 15 minutes of video editing, going up to use the bathroom, talking to my husband, holding a flashlight for him while he messes with wires because we have to replace our thermostat, and finishing my coffee, rinsing the cup, talking to him for maybe another minute, and then coming downstairs. That's not actually a break. It took 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes probably, 25, maybe even 30, and more if we're including the time I'm chatting here, but it's not actually a break. Yes, it's a break from writing, but it's not a break. Taking breaks is important, and you should do it. Don't be like me, but it's hard. It's really hard to actually force yourself to not think about the stuff, not think about work, and by work I mean something you have to do for a minute, even a minute. That'd be great. But instead of doing that, I am going to go write Billy and Xander standing on the patio and talking about his childhood trauma. So okay, not a great shot, but ta-da! It's done! The chapter is done. It's also probably like 500 words longer than the previous version would have been at the end. This is over 2,600 words. And I was pretty close to being done before, and it was at like 1,900. So I don't know what exactly changed, because I can't compare them, but this one wound up longer, which could be a good thing. I have crossed the threshold of 115,000 words on this draft right now. The 23 chapters that I've gone through and revised is over 60,000 words now, which is crazy. Act 2 is just shy of hitting 30k, which is concerning because there are 3 more chapters, and if they're all hovering around 2,000 words, that means it's going to be like 5,000 words more than Act 1, which is a decent amount. I don't know if this means I should flesh out Act 1 more still. I'm not thinking about that right now. I am just so relieved that this is done. It's like 3 p.m. now. I started working on stuff around 9:30. I've taken some breaks, and I've done video editing in between stuff, so I really don't know how to measure how much time I spent on this, but realistically, just as much time as I spent on it the first time, if not more time. And I didn't even have to spend time researching like I did when I wrote it the first time. I don't know. I think that has more to do with how difficult it was to get myself in the mindset of working on this. But the next scene at least should be pretty easy. I need to do a little bit of timeline adjustments, so I need to make some adjustments to the way I talk about the things that have happened prior to this scene, but not the stuff actually in the scene. And beyond that, just generally fleshing stuff out some. This scene is about 800 words. I'll probably get it closer to 1,000, so I have a little more video editing I want to do, and then I want to work on this scene. And then I think I'm done for the day, at least until tonight. I don't know if I'll do any more writing tonight, but I will probably come down to do more video editing. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about how today has gone, especially considering how the rest of the week has gone. Not well. Taking that into consideration, today has gone well. I'm still behind where I wish I were, where I had intended to be. Even when I decided to slow down some, I'm still a chapter behind because of losing all of this work and having to redo it. I don't know if I will actually get through chapter 25 by the end of the week. I kind of doubt it, but I should be able to get through chapter 24 at least. If I can do this scene today and then the other scene that basically needs written entirely brand new. If I can at least manage that, I think I will have to be satisfied. No other choice. Anyway, back to it. Okay, quick update because it is 5 p.m. I finished that scene. It was not minor changes. I changed most everything, partially because Xander was like very flirty in the scene, and I mean he always is, but more than I wanted him to be, so that meant like all of the dialogue tags I had to completely rewrite. I wanted to make sure I was showing him more carefree and did not want to emphasize flirty, spicy behavior because he's been doing that even when he's not carefree. This was like a rare opportunity while they're on this trip for them to not be with or by near whatever his parents. So he's much more relaxed here, and I wanted to emphasize that. So I rewrote a whole bunch and added like 130 words. So when I estimated it would be around 1,000 words, I wasn't that far off. 943 is the word count for that. So I have one more scene in chapter 24, and that will be almost entirely new. I have like 63 words from a different scene that I grabbed to be the basis for this scene. I really want to emphasize, like, as they're going back to the house, how Xander's mood, like, drops very obviously, and then they get back and the house looks completely different because it has been decorated for the Christmas Eve party. And then the next scene after that, the next chapter will be the start of the party, and that is, you know, the big crazy midpoint. So I'm very excited to be getting to that. I just have this one more scene before I'm at the party, and I'm really excited to get there. And I also finished the video editing I wanted to do. That is now at 1 hour and 32 minutes long. There's definitely more trimming and tweaking to do, but I will probably be working on that later tonight. Oh, and the other thing is package. This is the other half of the stuff I bought from my friend Matt, so I am going to open this up and take a peek at what I got. This is so cute. Little note on the back. Oh, I love this design so much. The other stuff I got were little stickers. I love this sticker design of his. The pride flag on Missouri with made in flowers is beautiful. And this sticker, be queer, do crime, is the best. He has a couple other ones, like I believe there's a be trans, do crime. I don't remember what the other one is. This is, you know, the one that applied to me, so that is the version I got. I love them though, they're so cool. And his card with all the info, which will be in the description because I gotta shout him out. I love his artwork so much, and the stuff that I've commissioned from him is so good. I don't know how I have time for anything because it's been like 9 months since he did the merch for me, since he did the commission. I am actually using one thing now, so there's that. That's an improvement. Not enough though. I need to actually make the merch. I'm not really in a hurry because getting this book done is a slow process. It is. And this is merch that I mostly want to put out in conjunction with the release of the 4th book. So I'm not in a hurry, but I do have stuff I need to be figuring out, and it's not happening. It's just not happening. And you know, that's a me problem. That's a executive dysfunction problem. That's a taking on too much because I have too high of expectations for myself problem. At least I don't hate myself and the world anymore right now because I was able to rewrite that scene. It's even longer than it was before, and I don't know if it's any better than it was before, but it's certainly not any worse. So that's a win. It's a win. I'm not as far along as I would like to be, but I was a little overzealous with my goals for this week and for this month in general. So yeah, I will at least try to do a little more video editing tonight after the kids are in bed, and then I will fit in a little bit of work before going to hang out with my friend tomorrow afternoon. I'll check in later. Good morning. It is Friday, June 19th. And at this point, I've just kind of accepted that I am in survival mode. That's just how we're doing it. That's how we're going. I came downstairs and I just really cannot take any more commitments. At this point in time, I need to just power through and get through it. And when things have calmed down a little bit, then it will be better. At some point, it will be better. As long as I don't actually burn out, then we're fine. And everything is fine, and that's just the way it goes. So last night after the kids were in bed, I came down and did some video editing. I watched through the whole thing, the whole hour and a half, and I was able to cut out a couple more minutes, but I would have to seriously cut back on stuff to get it less than an hour. All I need to do is the graphics and on-screen text and the music. I will probably not be getting to that today though, unless I'm doing it tonight after the kids are in bed, because I only have a couple hours until I'm going to go hang out with my friend, and I would like to, at the very least, get through this one scene in revisions. So I have 2 hours, less than 2 hours if I want to get there on time, and I need to get through this scene. I'm a little nervous about this scene. It's not going to be super long, but all I have to work with from the previous draft is 63 words, which is almost nothing. And I kind of doubt that any of those words will wind up in the final version of this scene, which is fine. That's not a concern. The scene where we actually met Xander's dad that I had to rewrite and wound up being over 2,600 words, I counted only about 75 were words from the previous draft. And the word count for that scene in the previous draft was 715. So I might keep 5 of these words. I have 2 hours, so I'm going to dive into it, figure out how the heck I'm supposed to write this scene because I only have vague ideas at this point, and we're rolling with it. Chapter 24 is done. It probably took me like an hour and a half to actually write it. I will say that is the frustrating part of adding in new scenes this far in the process. Writing them and like revising these scenes takes so much more time. And I know this section of the book like needs a lot of work, and that's why this section in particular is taking more time. But an hour and a half for like 850 words is frustrating. So I did that, and then I did the first section of chapter 25, which is just like a 500-word little part of Billy and Xander finishing getting ready before going downstairs for the Christmas Eve party. Which means I am officially at the midpoint, like we're there. These next 3 chapters are all the party, and a lot of the stuff that I've been building up to, especially in the changes that I've made, is about to come to a head, and I'm very excited. What I'm not excited for is that this quarter of the book, which still has like this chapter and the next chapter, are what I still include in this quarter of the book. So that's gonna be like 5,000 words-ish. More if I flesh this out a lot, and it's already longer than the first quarter of the book. So I definitely still have some of those concerns about the different parts being off balance, but I also could just be overthinking it, and it's not a big enough difference that it will feel really weird. And it's not like I use a strict structure with these books. There is no formula, there's no save the cat. I don't really like that sort of thing in general. I don't like reading super formulaic books, and I certainly don't like writing them. So I probably just need to stop overthinking it. And as long as I finish this draft and I read the book and it doesn't feel off balance, then I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, I need to get ready to go hang out with my friend. Like the minimum of what I wanted to do, I got done. And we are making slow, but I guess kind of steady progress through the midpoint. I will say I cannot wait to go back and read this and just like feel how much better these scenes are than the previous draft. Because reading the previous draft was fun, it was good, but it was very much like, this is mostly how things are supposed to go, but it's not particularly well written. And a lot of these scenes, the revisions I've been making, it's so much better. It's so much better. Time to get ready to go. Ta-da! It is a little after midnight, and I just finished chapter 25. I added, I don't know, a few hundred words to it and, fleshing out different sections. And then I decided to move what's at the very end to the beginning of the next chapter. So the next chapter is going to probably be a little on the long side, and maybe some of the end of that chapter will wind up in the following chapter. That's definitely possible. The more I think about this, the more that makes sense, because there are 2 scenes in chapter 27, and I think it might work better if I move the second scene to chapter 28. I think that might actually work. I might prefer the way that that plays out. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and do that. I have crossed 64,000 words on this draft, right about halfway. So if the second half of the book is this long, then it is going to be over 120,000, which frankly at this point I will be very surprised if this draft is not that, because my total draft, including the stuff I haven't gone through and revised yet, is over 117,000 words. That's a lot. I don't think any of my drafts of the previous books in this series were ever this long. I think probably the longest they were was like right around 100,000. Maybe close to like 110. I don't know if they were ever quite that long. This is a big boy, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to trim that down a little bit, but today is not that day. We are still fleshing things out, and even the next draft will probably add more than it takes away. That's fun. God, this book it's too long. It's fine for now, though. It really is. This is perfectly fine with where I am at in the process, as long as it doesn't get, outrageously long. We'll see. We will see. So yeah, I made it through chapter 25. When I came downstairs tonight, I honestly was not sure whether I would work on video editing or on writing. I'm glad I worked on the writing, because I'm happy with the improvements I made to this, but also I really need to finish that vlog. Maybe I can hopefully finish it over the weekend. I have kind of come to terms with the fact that because the midpoint needs so much attention and so much work, it's okay that I did not get to do 2 chapters every day. I barely managed 1 chapter every day on average, and this is good. Generally speaking, this draft is going really well. I am very pleased with the changes that I've made and the improvements that this draft has already gone through. And like, I will say, I really, really enjoy using Scrivener's revision feature. It was not available when I was writing books before. It wasn't a thing until Scrivener 3, and that came out right after I stopped writing regularly. But I love it, and I really, really want to use it for a short story, and showing my editing process on a short story using the feature. I'm very excited about doing that, but I have to finish the short story first. That is a video that I am planning, and have been planning for a couple months, but I have not had the capacity to finish the short story that I want to do it on, so it hasn't happened yet. I should probably go to bed now. I feel energized, which is frustrating because I should sleep, but my brain is like, what if you worked on the next chapter? I can't do that, brain. As much as my brain wants to be so singularly focused on this book, and only this book, and literally nothing else, I physically can't do that, and that's frustrating. If I could not sleep, not interact with anyone, not work on any other project, be that for my work, for clients, for like gardening or whatever, if I could just do this and only this for like 3 more weeks and finish it, my brain would be happy. Good morning. It is Monday the 22nd. It's like 10:30. I was up way too late last night because over the weekend I came down in the evenings after the kids were in bed to work on video editing. So I was up way too late last night checking the final video while it uploaded to the channel. It actually did upload completely overnight, which is awesome because the last one that was this big and this long, I don't know, I was having internet issues, connection issues, and it took like over 24 hours to upload. So this only took 6 or 7 hours, so huge improvement in my book. I still need to finish my thumbnails, so that's what I'll be tackling first this morning. I'll grab a few screenshots and get that taken care of. I did finally write another drabble on stream yesterday with Miley. That was the first one that I had written since Tuesday, and which means I only like missed 4. I'm in this weird position where I know I need more of a break, and a big part of me really does not want to work on drabbles at all. I really just want to be done with them for the month. I slowed down so much on writing at the end of last week and over the weekend that my brain doesn't really want to do any of that. I don't want to do revisions. I don't want to drabble, and I am a little bit scared of having lost momentum, but I also think if I actually sit down and try to do the revisions, try to do the 1 chapter, it won't be as bad as I think it will be. If I can just get through chapter 26 today, I will be happy. If that's the only thing I do today, aside from the thumbnail, I will be happy. Maybe not happy, but you know, okay. That's what I'm trying to do today. I just want to get this thumbnail done and make sure I have everything with that video ready and revise chapter 26. Those are the 2 things that I absolutely need to do today. The thumbnail is done, the vlog is posted. I'm really happy with how this thumbnail turned out also. Can we talk about that? It's really cute, actually. I feel like my thumbnails have gotten stagnant, so I changed things up a little bit, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So, good start to the day, aside from the fact that it's going on noon already, and I just generally feel pretty meh. Oh well, so this means it is time to work on revisions. I'm going to grab something small to eat because I haven't eaten much today, and then I'm going to reread the last chapter that I revised so I can get to work on the current chapter, on chapter 26. And we're just powering through on this vlog until I actually finish the midpoint, which will be this week. I really wanted it to be last week, but it will definitely be this week. Technically, I just have to get through 3 more chapters to finish the midpoint, and then the next couple chapters after that are kind of like slowing down and reacting to the midpoint. So I'm gonna go get some food and get to work. It's about 4:20 now. I made it almost halfway through chapter 26. Not nearly as far as I wanted, but frankly, I sat down to write and just generally felt awful. I reread the previous chapter and I was just so thoroughly overwhelmed by how much work this chapter needed that I couldn't do it. So I took a long lunch break instead and watched a few AuthorTube videos, played some solitaire, and made lunch and ate it, and it was like an hour and a half long lunch break, basically. But that is what I needed, or some version of something. It helped me actually get some work done. Actually, when I went upstairs, it was very much with the plan of, I'm done for the day. I don't feel like I can accomplish anything, so I'm going to try to take care of my body and relax a little bit. And I think just having that mindset helps me get to the point where I was able to actually get some work done. Also, I started my period, so that's a lot of why I just generally feel like crap today. Fun stuff. So I got through 1,000 words, which is farther than I thought I would get. I wound up cutting a whole bunch of stuff and then writing different stuff to replace it, so it's not like I was rewriting the actual stuff that happened. I completely changed it. And yeah, this next section is going to require a lot of concentration, because this is kind of the scene where Xander's mom stops being quite so nice to her. Not that she's outright mean. It's a very passive-aggressive type of mean, but it is obvious enough that Billy can pick up on it. So as excited as I am to work on this next part of the party, I also recognize that that is a time when I will need a lot of creative juice to devote to this. All of the midpoint requires a lot of creative juice. That's why it has been so difficult to do. But this moment is the real turning point in his mother's behavior, and I really want to make sure I get that done well. It's 4:30 now, and I'm done for the day. Still feel like crap, hoping I feel a little better tomorrow. I have an appointment and a live stream, but I want to at least get done with this chapter tomorrow. So I'll check in later. Well, I've officially made it halfway through the book. It is a relief, but also I've felt like crap all day today and yesterday, and that's why I haven't been recording much. I am some mixture of overwhelmed, emotional from hormones, and that is definitely causing a flare-up with my RSD. I don't think flare-up is the correct word, but hormones are exacerbating my rejection-sensitive dysphoria. So, fun times. Half the time, I feel like I am 2 seconds away from crying, and that's great. Love it. So yeah, I just finally finished chapter 26. It took a whole bunch of today and a whole bunch of yesterday. This was a slog to get through, and it's not even because there's anything particularly difficult about it. I mean, there kind of is, and the next chapter is going to be really hard too, but in a different way. This didn't quite go the way I expected it to. Things with Xander's mom did not get as intense as I thought they were going to. So a lot of the conversation that was supposed to be in this chapter and the next chapter is now not going to be in either. It might be in a couple chapters, or it might be later on, or it might just wind up getting cut entirely, which isn't the end of the world. I am also just shy of 67,000 words, and if that's halfway through, oh boy, too long. 60k would be 120, so 67 would be 135-ish. That sounds bad. The full draft, including the stuff I haven't revised yet, is still sitting a couple hundred words under 118,000 words. It really depends on how much gets added and how much does not get cut, but there are still several new scenes I need to write. So if I do wind up cutting a lot of this conversation with Xander's mother, that's fine. There's plenty of other book happening here. I think I'm going to set it aside in a different section so that I can look back on it and see what parts I haven't really used yet, because it's probably more a case of I'll grab a few things here and there to include where appropriate, but I'm not going to be using the whole thing and like just changing some stuff. It is too different. We are officially halfway through, which is crazy. This is 26 out of 51 chapters, so it's technically like just over 50% of the way through. The next scene is still part of the party. Billy's going to go to the bathroom, and then she has to go find where Xander went. That's probably going to be very different, especially like the first half of this next chapter will be very different. Yeah, I'm done for the day. I'm trying not to push myself too hard this week because I'm literally hanging on by a thread, like mentally and emotionally. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I will probably only be writing more drabbles on the days that I'm live streaming, which is Thursday, I'm live streaming with Laura, and then next Tuesday, so a week from today, I'm live streaming with Cynthia. And those are my last 2 live streams for the month of June. I was supposed to do one today, but I canceled it because I feel like this. But the important thing is, I finished the chapter. Yeah, that's the important thing. I finished the chapter. That's it. That's all I really achieved today, and sometimes you don't get a lot done because you are on the brink of insanity. Okay, it is 5 p.m. Wednesday, June 24th. I've been taking it easy today and yesterday, which has definitely helped. Generally just have been feeling unwell, both physically because of period bullshit, and also, mentally and emotionally just not in a great headspace right now. But I just finished chapter 27, so I wanted to update about that. These midpoint scenes are pretty rough still, and I don't know how much of that is because I'm working on them while I'm not feeling great, or if I'm still figuring stuff out, or both. It could be both. Either way, the midpoint is not quite over. Chapter 28 is the last chapter that is like technically a part of that, and as much as I would like to write that next scene, it is, as I already said, 5 p.m. So, nope, can't do that right now. This is where we're leaving it for now. I'll work on it some tomorrow after my live stream. I'm doing a live stream with Laura in the morning. I'm looking forward to that because I haven't live streamed with her before. I have decided though that like after the June challenge, I will probably take a couple weeks off from live streaming and basically prioritize not doing a whole lot. Kind of like I did today. I didn't get out of bed until 10:30, which was really nice. And then I just like did lazy morning type of stuff for a couple hours and then came downstairs to write. And it took 4.5 hours minus breaks, but I finished chapter 27. I didn't take any really long breaks, so probably this took about 4 hours. And that's just, I'm really moving slow right now, and I hate it. But also these chapters are really difficult. It's just a lot of cutting apart the previous draft scenes and figuring out which parts of that fit with what this scene is now and which parts to hold on to for the future and which parts I don't need at all. Yeah, it's frustrating is what it is. These next 2 scenes though, in chapter 28, will be a lot more straightforward in the edits that I need to do. Primarily, this next one is a very angsty spice scene, so I need to rewrite a lot of what is going on there, but it's like rewriting to make it better, not rewriting to like change the content like a lot of the past few chapters have been. I think once I actually get through the midpoint and they are back at school, the edits will be a lot less intimidating again, and I'm looking forward to that. For now, this is just, it's so much. There's so much happening and lots of little changes that are hard to parse. Anyway, I am done for the day and I'm gonna go upstairs and have a probably pretty chill evening. So, bye. Okay, laundry's going, so sorry for the background noise, but we're right next to the laundry room. It's Thursday, it's about 5 p.m. I did my live stream this morning with Laura. We had a great time. It was really fun writing a drabble, and I'm quite happy with the weird, creepy thing that I wrote this morning, even if it wasn't exactly 100 words. And then I went and had lunch with my husband and ran a couple errands and came back and have not even made it through a full scene, but it's 5 p.m. now. I don't have time to finish this now, but I will probably come back down after the kids are in bed and just try to finish this scene. This is a very emotional, spicy scene, so it's just like emotionally heavy. It is difficult to write, but not in a bad way, in a I'm choosing my words carefully way, and still not doing as good of a job as I wish I were, but it's fine because this book is still nowhere near done. Even after this draft, there's still so much work to be done, so it's fine if the wording isn't just right. It won't be. I have added about 500 words to this scene, flushing out a lot of stuff, and I only have like 500 words left that I need to go through and revise, but most of that will be rewritten because like the whole tone of that section is different. It's a lot softer, and yeah, a lot of the coming scenes will be very emotional and heavy. We'll see how this goes. I think these chapters here will take a lot of time and effort to get them exactly how I want them, but that's not a bad thing. This section is just slow going, and that's okay. But I only have a little bit more until I'm done with the midpoint, so we should almost be to the end of this vlog. You know better than I do because you can see how many minutes are left. I'm gonna go take a few hours break, have dinner with my kids, and let my brain rest some before coming back to this. Making slow but steady progress. That's how it goes. So, late night, it's just midnight, so it's not that late, it's fine. I just finished chapter 28. I honestly did not know if I was going to come downstairs and work on it, but I decided to go ahead and do it, at least try to finish that scene. And then when I finish that scene, it's like, okay, well the next scene is basically the shortest scene in the book, so might as well do that too. So I have 28 out of 51 chapters done now. That is officially the end of the midpoint, though there's still another chapter before they head home. I don't know if I can really say that I'm satisfied with how the midpoint is now, but it's certainly better than it was, like way better than it was. Way more in keeping with how I want the story to go. I'm simultaneously worried that it's too much and not enough, and I honestly just don't know until I read it again with like a fresh mind. I will say I'm very relieved that the next two chapters are ones that don't require nearly as much work. All of these ones I've been working on, all of these stars that have been completed over here, I think there's maybe been one scene in all of that that wasn't at least 50% rewritten, so hopefully chapters 29 and 30 will not take as long because they require less work. I am very much looking forward to that. I am hoping that my speed kind of picks up again after the midpoint, and that how much work the midpoint needed is why I really needed to slow down as much as I did. So many of these chapters, so many of these scenes took honestly 3 to 5 hours to work on. That's a really long time, and not happy about that, but if that's what it takes to get this draft to be the best version of itself that it can be, that's what I'm gonna do. So tomorrow is Friday. It is the last day of summer school, so I will be getting as much work as I can on this while I still have time. So I will probably get through chapter 29 tomorrow, and close out this vlog. I don't know how salvageable this vlog is because it's quite a mess and there's almost no b-roll, and that's fine because that's what I could emotionally and like mentally manage at this time. It's been a rough couple weeks for me, which is a stark contrast to the vlog that I spent half of this vlog editing. I was so hopeful and excited and things were going so well. This vlog was not like that. And that really is, you know, how it goes when you are a creative person working on a creative project. And you know how it goes when your neurodivergent brain doesn't function the way it theoretically should. I need to get my laundry out of the dryer and then I'm going to bed. I will check in tomorrow. Ta-da! It is 1:40 on Friday, whatever day it is, the 26th. I just finished revising chapters 29 and 30, and Billy and Xander are officially back at home. The midpoint is done. It is not as good as it could be, but it's better than it was, and at least for now, I need to be happy with that, especially with how difficult it was to get to this point. It's funny because at the beginning of this draft, I was so excited and hopeful and enthusiastic about what was to come, and then I make it to the midpoint and everything fell apart, or at least that's what it felt like. Probably not actually that bad, but you know, when you are catastrophizing, it's hard to see anything else. So some general stats now that I have made it all the way through the midpoint. I've gotten through 50 out of 92 scenes and 30 out of 51 chapters. I have now revised over 75,000 words. That's where we're at word count wise. 75,453 words, which is amazing. This of course does not bode well for the final word count of the draft, but we're rolling with it if this winds up being a really long draft, which at this point somewhere around 130,000 feels realistic, especially based on the fact that I still have 8 brand new scenes to add to this, and based on an average of 1,500 words per scene, that will add around 12,000 words. And right now, the total draft, including the stuff I haven't gotten to revising yet, is 119,500 words. So you add 12,000 to that, and this is a long book. This is a very long book compared to the previous ones. I have mixed feelings about that. I know it will get shorter when I do line edits, but also this is the last book. There's a lot going on and a lot of things that need tied up, so it's okay if this is a bit longer than the previous books. The first 3 books hover between like 92 and 98,000 words. I am expecting the final version of this one to be over 100,000, but I honestly have no idea by how much. If this draft is 130,000 or more, it could be quite a bit over. We now have a little over 40% of the book left to revise, which is amazing. I am so proud of the progress that I've made, even though the last couple weeks have been very difficult. I had to slow down on this dramatically and cut out almost everything else that I'm doing because this process has been so exhausting, and doing that along with regular life stuff and doing drabbles and everything else that has happened, it was too much. I did not like having to slow down. I really didn't like it, but I also really don't want to burn myself out. So slowing down is important. I will say there are only a few more days left of June, and I think I'm going to slow down even more at that point. Not necessarily with revisions, but everything else I'm doing. Obviously, I have this vlog to edit. I doubt it will be nearly as difficult as the previous one though, because surely there's less footage here. I will probably do another vlog when I get to the climax of the book. The start, the midpoint, and the climax are like the most important parts. But then after that, this book will be out of my hands for a little bit. My critique partner is aware that it will be ready for her to look at once I'm done with this draft. We'll see how long that takes, but that will give me an opportunity to work on some other stuff. I have many other projects that I would like to work on too. I might try to focus on short stories at that point, so I'm not taking on anything too big, but we'll see, because who knows what will draw my attention at the time. We're not there yet. This vlog has kind of been a little bit of a nightmare because of how disastrous everything was the whole time, basically. But it's done. It took twice as long as I wanted, but I got through it. To be fair, some of those scenes I rewrote entirely and added stuff. These were all scenes that took literal hours for me to get through, every single one of them. I was not prepared for that. I don't think I realized how long each one would actually take, and I'm very glad to be at a point where not all of the scenes require such rigorous rewrites. And I will see you guys in another video soon.